Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. Unfortunately recently I had a bit of a computer malfunction and lost several hundred hours of video footage. So unfortunately, instead of putting up one a week, I shall only be putting up whatever I can do at the time, which doesn't interfere with the day job, unfortunately. So here's just a short video of me swapping out the blades in my planer thicknesser. It's only a little cheapie from Screwfix, a little Titan 250 BD I think it is. Yeah, just put it in position, sliding the top guard out of the way to get access to the blades. They supply a couple of little tools to help with blade change. The one there in my left hand is for actually setting the ride height of the blades. The blades themselves rest on two small springs, and you apply pressure to that jig to hold them down while you do up the bolts that clamp the blades in. You don't get much wiggle room to work there. It can be a bit knuckle crunching if you're not careful. Must be really interesting watching somebody undoing bolts, especially if you've had the pleasure of doing it yourself on your own machine. I'm not just trying to fill the video out, I'm actually trying to give a true life account of changing the actual blades, although it does help to buff out the video a little bit. There we go, that's the blade holder and that's the blade. Give everything a bit of a quick clean up. I'm just removing those two little springs there so they don't get sucked up the vacuum, or even brushed out maybe. Yeah, the vacuum. I knew it was there somewhere. Just popping the little springs back in. And that's the new blade. The new blade has two small slots in it which hook over some pins on the blade carrier, which obviously helps to keep everything roughly where it should be while you're trying to put it back together. For such a cheap machine, it's actually quite easy to do a blade change on. I just slotted the whole system in there, the iron and the locking pin. Just put the jig in place there. It's a 2-blade rotor, and on this one I decided to hold the jig in place, which is what it suggests in the instruction book. Now it's just a case of tightening all those pesky little bolts up. It does say it's a 10mm spanner, but actually It's an 8mm spanner that you need to tighten those up. But they do supply the spanner, so there you go. Once the blade's clamped sufficiently tightly, it's just easy just to remove the jig and tighten the rest of the bolts up, just making sure every now and again that nothing has slipped by replacing the jig. Then it's a case of doing a final tighten on all of those bolts. Blade 1 done. And here we go from a different angle for the second blade. Once again, it's a case of undoing all of those bolts so we can slip the cap iron out and the blade. The blades are high-speed steel and can be resharpened, which I might do at some point, but for this time I'm just putting new blades back in. There we go, make sure there's nothing in there that's going to impede the blade. Springs back in position. New blade and iron. You can just see the slots there that go over the pins on the blade iron. Just applying the height setting jig there, and this is my new heavily engineered blade jig setting tool clamp. To be honest, it probably takes longer to set the jig clamp than it does to actually hold it in place, but you have to try these things, don't you? Alright, now it's back to tightening those little bolts up. Another interesting section of the video. There we go, all done. Just remove the jig and the jig holding device. Must get the patent written up for that and sent off to the patent office. Hope nobody coppers it before I do that. Alright, just slide the top guard back into position, and we'll give it a little test just to make sure nothing flies out and it does what it's supposed to do. That's a bit of Canadian hard maple there. Just setting the in-feed table. Take off about 1/2 mil, 3/4 of a mil. Don't want to go too mad. I think what I might do actually is do a full review of this particular piece of equipment. It does have its good points, it does have its bad points. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you again.